Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down how one single piece of technology, a firearm, didn't just change how we fight wars. Oh no, it completely remade human history, shifting the balance of power from the individual soldier all the way up to the modern nation-state.
So, how does that even happen? How can one weapon have such a massive impact? Well, to really get it, we first have to look at the clunky, dangerous, and frankly super frustrating technology that the musket was designed to replace. It was a solution to some very, very real problems on the battlefield.
All right, so before the musket that we all picture in our heads, the top firearm on the scene was the matchlock. Now, it was a huge step up from, hand cannons, but it was a piece of tech that was deeply and sometimes fatally flawed. The idea behind it was pretty simple, right? You've got a burning rope, they called it a match, and a trigger that just lowers it into a little pan of gunpowder. Boom. Now, this was a big deal because for the first time, a single soldier could actually aim and fire. But that simple mechanism, it came with a whole laundry list of really critical drawbacks.
For the poor soldier actually using this thing, it was basically an exercise in constant stress and unreliability. I mean, think about it. You're carrying open fire and loose gunpowder right next to each other, all while you're in the middle of a battle. What could possibly go wrong?
And just think about how impractical this was. If it rained, your weapon was basically useless. If you wanted to stage a surprise attack at night, forget about it. You're literally carrying a glowing beacon that tells the enemy exactly where you are. And on top of all that, it was a logistical headache, forcing soldiers to carry and manage yards and yards of this burning cord. And if all that wasn't bad enough, it was unbelievably slow. We're talking more than a minute for a trained soldier to load and fire just one shot. You're measuring powder, ramming the ball down, priming the pan. In that time, a whole squadron of enemy cavalry could be right on top of you. It was a deadly, deadly weakness. And this right here really brings home the personal danger these soldiers were in every single day. This wasn't some abstract risk. We have historical records, like this one about the explorer Captain John Smith, showing how one little spark could cause an absolute disaster. The weapon itself was a threat to the person using it. But problems like these just beg for a solution. And the solution that came along wasn't just a small improvement. It was this elegant and powerful technological leap that would go on to define firearms for the next 200 years. So, what was the secret sauce? It was the flintlock mechanism. This was the game changer. It totally replaced that external, always lit match cord with a self-contained mechanical way to create a spark. This single jump in technology is what made the musket so much better than what came before it.
The whole process was simple, it was reliable, and it was all contained inside the gun. You pull the trigger and it creates its own fire right then and there, exactly when you need it. This completely got rid of that dangerous, weather-sensitive, glowing match cord. Just like that, the problems of rain and stealth were solved with one brilliant piece of engineering. I mean, look at them side by side. The difference is just night and day. The flintlock musket was way more reliable, a whole lot safer for the soldier, and just dramatically more effective under the real conditions of a chaotic battlefield. Finally, you had a weapon you could actually count on. Now, this technological leap didn't just give soldiers a better gun, it totally changed how wars were fought, who was fighting them, and ultimately, who won. The entire tactical playbook had to be torn up and rewritten from scratch. For centuries, who dominated the battlefield? The armored knight, right? But all of a sudden, their expensive, heavy plate armor was completely useless. A single, well-aimed shot from an early musket could take down a knight before he even got close. Centuries of military doctrine just became obsolete, almost overnight. And this forced a super-fast evolution in tactics. First, armies learned to mix musketeers with soldiers carrying long pikes to protect them from cavalry charges. Then, as muskets got better and better, they developed line infantry tactics, these massive walls of soldiers firing all at once. And finally, with the invention of the socket bayonet, every musketeer also became his own spearman, creating the versatile modern soldier. But the musket's influence didn't just stop at the battlefield's edge. It sent shockwaves through all of society, reshaping the very structure of armies, economies, and even entire countries. When you get down to it, the musket was really a catalyst for creating the modern state. You see, you couldn't rely on a few feudal lords and their knights anymore. To win, you needed a big professional army trained and equipped by the government. And that required a huge industrial base to build all those guns,
which kickstarted economic growth and even early forms of mass production. And this chart just shows you how fast that technology was improving. The very first muskets were these monstrously heavy things, weighing around 11 kilos. You sometimes needed a stand just to fire one. But in less than 100 years, they'd been refined into weapons less than half that weight, making them way easier for an individual soldier to carry and use effectively.
So what's the big takeaway here? How did this all come together? Well, the musket's legacy isn't just about military history. It's about a fundamental shift in the social and political order of the entire world.
Think about it. Before the musket, power really belonged to the aristocratic armored knight. It took a lifetime of training and a small fortune to become one. The musket completely flipped that script. It replaced the elite knight with the ordinary common soldier, disciplined and drilled as the most important person on the field.
And this right here is the ultimate impact. Military power was, in a very real way, democratized. A trained peasant with a musket could now defeat a nobleman in full armor. That is a massive social and political change. It broke the aristocracy's monopoly on warfare and paved the way for totally new kinds of government and society. Which leaves us with a pretty powerful question, doesn't it? The story of the musket shows us how a single innovation can completely redefine power, society, and the world itself. So as you look around today at things like AI, biotechnology, the internet, it's worth asking yourself, what is the musket of our time?